Many of us in this world find ourselves searching for ways to feel more alive. We move through our lives day after day, living through the same repetitive cycles and the same stressful patterns that often leave us feeling defeated, underappreciated, or unfulfilled. But what if there were a different way to perceive life? What if out there we were able to find the keys to a happy, healthy, and fulfilling reality right here, right now? For those of us who are looking for a way to transform our lives, for those of us who want to learn how to fully live in this moment, to change how we feel, how we perceive the world, and awaken to a better reality so we can fully live this life. This is the Live This Life podcast. I'm your host, Heath Cummings. I'm here to inspire you to ask yourself the question, are you living or are you killing time? What is up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Live This Life podcast. So this is an episode that I did not anticipate that I would have on here, but I feel compelled to document what's happening in my life right now. In my last episode, I was talking about expansion and growing through Satori, or inspiration, or insight. It's a state of growth that you go through that's more of a positive growth state. And then its opposite is growing through pain, or what's called Kensho. And I described how sometimes we shrink down to a certain point with Kensho. We shrink in, and when we're done shrinking in through our loss, our grief or whatever it is, and we are able to grow from that point forward. That's usually where we have some of our most significant growth. And sometimes we can grow without that pain. Well, here in our household, we've been hit with an unavoidable circumstance of Kensho right now, and my wife has been facing something wrong with her digestive system for quite a few weeks now, and it's been worsening and worsening. And I talked on the last show about how I have this huge trip planned to go to LA and spend a week with one of my biggest mentors, something I've been planning for, I think like 4 or 5 months now, and really been looking forward to it. Due to the fact that she is in so much pain and has really an inability to eat much at all. And this has been extremely debilitating for her, and it's really affecting the family. We have a 12-year-old son. We live in a pretty rural spot in our town. We're not extremely rural, but it's a tough house to, it's not like a little flat driveway that we can just pull in and out of. It's quite a steep place that we live, and it's a lot. It's a lot to handle on your own when you're feeling healthy, and it's even more when you're as sick as she is. So we're going through every avenue right now, doing every test in the book, and it's so hard for me to watch her be in the amount of pain that she's in and not being able to do anything. And I've always been the one who's been sick in our family. I've been sick with cancer a couple of times in my 20s, and she's taken care of me and gotten me through it. And I've taken care of her through a few things too, but not like this one. I can tell this one's serious. She's dropped like 10% of her body weight. So it's very concerning for us. So obviously, I'm not going to be able to head out on this trip, which is a huge, huge bummer, especially after getting to know some of the people who are going to be taking that same trip that week and getting connected with them ahead of time. And really looking forward to it, planning it all out, figuring out where I'm going to go from here after this trip is over. And it's been quite a few days. I just recorded the episode yesterday where I talked about how excited I was, and now here I am a day later, canceled plane tickets and everything. This is a Sunday, and on Saturday she had the worst day so far, and I had to call and cancel the plane tickets last night, and I have to go and notify the people at the retreat and the place that I'm going to, and obviously notify Brandon Beecham, who's the guy that I'm really looking forward to going to meet while I'm out there. And it's going to be a difficult circumstance, but I know whatever happens, I'll be able to get through it all. It always works out that way. And my wife, bless her, she's such a wonderful person. She's literally like the sweetest human being on the face of the planet. And, she doesn't want me to cancel this trip, but I can tell that it's something I absolutely have to do for her. She is just one of those people who you could never dislike. I mean, some people thought that she was fake when they first meet her or when they first met her because of how sweet she is, like it couldn't be real, but she really is like one of the most, sweetest down-to-earth people I've ever met, and would bend over backwards for pretty much anybody. And now she's going through whatever she's going through, and it's hard to keep up a positive mindset. She's done a great job so far, but even she's starting to break down. And this is definitely a test of everything that we talk about. Her and I have a lot of deep conversations about this kind of stuff and where we've been, and applying the things that I'm learning to the circumstances we've gone through. And this is one of those circumstances, that we're going to look back on this months, maybe years down the road, but we're going to understand why this happened and, the benefits that it had for our lives. And she knows how hard I've been working on all this, all of my side ventures, all the things that I always have going on, and how much I've been looking forward to this trip that I'm taking out to LA, and how much of a stretch that it's been for me, to meet my friend and mentor, and be on the Positive Head podcast, a show that I listen to so often and have for many years. And it's really changed my life. I mean, I could even say a certain way that it saved my life. And it's just something I'm looking forward to a lot. And that disappointment is a tough pill to swallow. I mean, this trip is a once in a lifetime opportunity, but there's not much we can do about these circumstances. And I've talked about this before, how although this is a difficult circumstance and I'm let down and sad about it all, and of course I'm worried about my wife, I know that everything's going to work out. That's what my life has shown me. That's how everything has always worked out. I know that whatever the reason is that I'm not going can't be seen right now, and it's going to drive me crazy while it's happening. I mean, if you sit there and try to figure it out, it's not even worth it. It's a complete waste of time when you try to figure things out. When you scream at the sky and yell, why is this happening to me? And you kick that stone down the road. It really is a complete waste of time, because you'll get that answer when it's appropriate to get that answer. When the lesson is learned and the dust is settled, you will get that answer that you're looking for. I know that my wife is going to be fine. I know that maybe the worst of it isn't over, but I know that whatever happens, she's going to be okay. And we'll get through it. We'll have yet another story to talk about when all of this is over, about how we overcame an adversity and how, it all worked out for this specific reason, and that reason will show itself to us at some point. But this is the perfect test of come what may, which was a title of an episode that I just did a couple of weeks ago. And I've had discussions with people about that concept since then. Some people have listened to the podcast and we've chatted about it, and that you can't just love everything that comes up. And I totally get that. I don't love what's going on right now. I mean, I can appreciate what's going on right now because of where I am in my journey, because I know that the universe has always had my back through every hard time I've gone through. And maybe I've gotten mad at God or the powers that be, whatever it was that was doing this to me, and said, why are you doing this to me? Why is this happening to me? And then I saw down the road how it was all meant to be, that it was happening for me. Sometimes it took years before it was obvious, but it was still obvious. Once it was all said and done, it was like, okay, that's why that happened. This other thing wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for this. So I know that all of this is going to reveal itself for my highest good at some point. And I have solace in that. I have some comfort there, because I know that it's going to be okay. And I'm going to be okay with what is right now, which gives up the resistance. It gives up beating that drum or ringing that bell of, why is this happening? I wish it wasn't happening. Why? You put so much energy into something that you don't want to have happen in your life. That's where your attention is going to focus, and often that can amplify some of the things in your life to be worse. All of this really reminds me of something that I heard from one of my biggest influences in my entire life, the late, great Wayne Dyer. He said, we choose to live in a hostile or friendly universe. And it was something that he quoted Albert Einstein on. And, I think actually the best thing that I can do, I talk about Wayne Dyer a lot, and I think one of the best things that I can do, since I could never do his words justice, is I'm going to play a clip. I'm going to play a clip from Wayne Dyer on some of the 5 most influential things that he said about the nature of our reality. And this clip is called 5 Lessons to Live By Wayne Dyer. And I found this on the Fearless Soul YouTube page. And this is just one of those 5 lessons, but check this out.
When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. Albert Einstein once observed that the most fundamental and major decision that you have to make in your life is this: do I live in a friendly or a hostile universe? Which is it? Is it a universe that is filled with hostility and anger and people wanting to hate each other and people wanting to kill each other? Is that what you see? Because when you see the world that way, that's exactly what you will create for yourself in your life. This is from great scientific minds. And the interesting thing is that this is not just a clever play on words, that when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. I'd like you to imagine the following scene. You're in your house. You've got your car keys in your hand. The lights go out. Power failure. You can't see a thing. You stumble around in your living room and you drop your keys. And you look around for a moment and you realize that you're never going to find them in the dark. But you look outside and you notice that the street lights are on. So in your mind, a light bulb goes off. I'm not going to sit around here in the dark and grope around looking for my keys when there's a light on outside. I'm going to go out here under the street light and I'm going to look for my keys. Why are you laughing? This makes a lot of sense. So you're out here and you're groping around and you're looking for your keys and you're looking and looking, and your neighbor comes along and says, "What happened, Wayne?" "Well, I dropped my keys." "Oh, I'll help you look for them." And the 2 of us are now down here looking for our keys. And looking, finally he says to me, "Excuse me, but where did you drop your keys?" "Well, I dropped them in the house." He said, "You mean to tell me that you dropped your keys in the house and you're looking for them out here in the street light? Doesn't make any sense." And I said, "Well, it doesn't make any sense to grope around in the dark when there's light out here." Now you laugh and you think how silly that is, but isn't that exactly what we do when we have a problem, a difficulty, a struggle that is located inside, and we're looking for the solution outside, someplace outside of ourselves? It would be like going to the doctor and telling him all of your symptoms. The doctor says, "Oh boy, you've got a lot of symptoms." And he starts writing out prescriptions. You need a prescription for this symptom, you need a prescription for that symptom. And finally he gets this 4 or 5, and you go to walk out and you say, "Well, I'd like my prescriptions." He said, No, I'll give this one to your mother-in-law, and I'll give this one to your neighbor, and I'll give this one to your daughter, and I'll give this one to your father. I mean, you're the one with the struggles and with the difficulties. Expecting somebody else to change or something outside of you to get better in order for you to make your life work is something you have to really take a hard look at. It's in here.
And I love stuff by Wayne Dyer. I've lived off of his stuff for years now. And, I played that clip just because I wanted someone else to say, someone else with a wiser voice than me to say that focusing on your problems, focusing on them too much, and not taking the right course of action, not being in the right places or looking in the right places to solve your problems, looking in the rearview mirror, it's really not going to help you with your current situations. That sometimes it can create more resistance, if anything. That resistance that I just mentioned was something that I will talk about soon when I do a deeper dive into the nature of our reality and how it ties into the crazy things I'm learning about quantum physics and how we as observers of reality potentially create or manifest things in this world. But if there is a recipe for manifestation or non-manifestation or maybe de-manifestation of the things that are bad that show up, or maybe preventing those things from showing up, I believe that this right here is what I'm doing is the way to that. And I know all of this will pass soon. I'm going to be on my way to LA. You know, I have the plane tickets on standby. I have my invite on standby. And who knows? Maybe I can go out there when it's only 25 degrees here in New England and it's like 80 degrees out there. I mean, right now I think it's like 25 outside already. It's not even Thanksgiving. And I don't even want to know what the temperature is out there. But I know that when the time is right, it's still going to be an epic trip. And all of this backstory is going to be behind it. Whatever it is, I'm okay with it. I mean, really, I'm amazed at this because it's not dragging me down like I thought it would. You know, the thought of not going to LA when it first popped up, like, oh, maybe I'm not going to be able to go because she's not going to be good. That thought first made my stomach just sink and I had a pit in my stomach. But I shifted that, you know, I didn't let it drag me down because I knew that if my perception wasn't there, if I wasn't focusing on all the reasons that it sucked and focused on the potential goods and positives that will stem from this, I knew that that's what would show up in my life. And the negatives, I mean, they're still there. They exist, but I'm not giving them the energy or the power that I could because I refuse to acknowledge them and give them any focus. Therefore, it's lessening the blow of them. So I guess you could call this episode maybe Come What May Part 2. I'm not going to do that, but I mean, really it is. It's Come What May without the love at all, because I don't love this. I don't love what's going on, but I know that I love my wife. I love my decision that I've made. I love the fact that I'm not across the country right now when she's going through some of her worst times. I love the fact that I have such a supportive community behind me. How awesome Brandon has been through all of this stuff. You know, he really is an amazing human being with the difficulties that this maybe is causing, an empty seat in the house and all the plans that he had for the trip while I was out there and everything. I know that he said he's excited to meet me. I mean, he said he's as excited to meet me as I am to meet him, but I doubt that much. But, you know, he's been an awesome support, and everybody in the Positive Head community and everyone who I've met along the way, who I've met through this podcast and everything. So many people have reached out and even called me, and people I haven't really even spoken to ever. I've only spoken to them through emails, have reached out. It's just been an amazing support, so I'm very grateful for all those things. And this is it's a perfect way to adopt this philosophy of come what may. You know, it's a philosophy that's been brought into 3D by my focus, you know, in the here and now. It's the application of knowledge and the choice to turn Kensho or grow through pain into Satori. You know, I'm doing this consciously and I'm making the best of the situation and blooming right where I am, which is actually, that's the title of the episode that Brandon had about me in 2018. When we first really connected person to person, he did an episode about me and that was the title of it. So it's kind of crazy that it just popped up. So with that, this is going to be a very short episode. I'm going to get on with my afternoon. I have to make some plans for this week since I've had it opened up. I plan to be in LA. Now I have a blank canvas in front of me. If we're not going to be at doctor's appointments and everything, I'm going to make the best of what I can. I'm going to make some moves, get things accomplished, and fill in these gaps of my time with making some extra moves. This is one of the many things I think that can get the best of us. You know, it's one of the many things that we can do is to occupy ourselves so situations like this don't get the best of us. I'm going to get outside a little bit, do a little bit of hiking, ride my four-wheeler today, I think. I haven't done that in over a year at least. Maybe hit the boxing gym. That good sweat, that good hard workout is always something that can help shake anything that's going on in life. I'm going to return a bunch of emails, maybe take on a new client or two in coaching, some people I haven't returned emails to. Actually, which I haven't talked about much on the podcast, but if you need some assistance getting your life back on track, I do offer some help through tough situations like what I'm going through right now. But hit me up. You can email me at connect@livethislife.org. In that coaching, I don't talk about it much on the podcast here, but I offer a very reasonable coaching service on the side that it's like the coach on the sidelines of helping you view the playing field of your life, the game situation that you're in your life, and giving you a few plays to get you on a good game plan to try to get you in the end zone for a score in your life. And it's priced for the average person, prices that I would be willing to pay if I were looking for something. A lot of coaching services are out there catering to people who make tons of money, hundreds of dollars an hour. And I'm always willing to work things out for people. I mean, I'm more doing this for the betterment of people. I mean, this podcast isn't something that's raking in the dough. So it's a labor of love, and so is the coaching thing. So if it seems like something you're interested, hit me up. But anyways, I actually feel better after this. This was great therapy for me. I hope it wasn't just rambling for you. I started off pretty down and was going to make this a quick talk about this lesson I'm going through. But now I feel really motivated to make something happen this week, make some great moves and keep climbing through this week. Even though I slid down the mountain a little bit, I'm going to keep heading for the top because I know the view is going to be great once I get up there. So with that, I'm going to leave you with a song. This one is called Into the Unknown by Soul Rising. I felt this was appropriate since I feel like I'm kind of heading into the unknown myself right now. But I know it's all good because I'm in this held place. I know that everything's going to work out the way that it's meant to. This song is off of his newest album called Dreamer that just came out a few months ago. I'm totally digging it. If you haven't checked it out, or if you haven't checked out any of his stuff yet, you can find him on Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, all that. And if you're looking for him, it's spelled S-O-L, Rising. Until next time, keep doing your best to climb to the top of that mountain to see the view. I'll race you there. Thanks for listening.